Hello, it's Fancy. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. And Happy New Year! It's now 2026. Wow! Thank you so much for sticking around, or if you're new here, welcome! By the way, thank you as well for helping the channel get to 300 subscribers before the new year. That means a lot to me as well. Anyways, it's been a while since I uploaded a new video, since I was enjoying my holidays a bit too much and didn't really get to do a lot of art or video work. Also, I've survived my first semester as an animation student, so that's a thing. I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with taking animation in college so far for today, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. First of all, a quick disclaimer. I am a first-year college student in the Philippines, taking Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology with specialization in animation. So technically, it's not just animation. We have a bunch of programming and coding and computing as well. And we even tried out some basic game development things too. For the first semester anyway, we only had one animation or art specific subject, which was basic sketching and digital illustration. My assignments for that class weren't really things I would do or draw or practice on my own, and we really didn't do much digital illustration. Only the basic sketching part. And I'll probably show those assignments I did on screen right about now. We had a bunch of different subjects that aren't really related to animation. For example, the artwork you're seeing on screen is a redraw of the very first art-related activity we had, but it wasn't for our art subject. Basically, we just had to draw something that, if I remember correctly, represented us. Something like that. So obviously, I drew my persona and a bunch of things that I like my plushies and the color yellow. And for this redraw, I added 2026 in text as well, just to make it kind of a New Year thing. And this was for a subject called Civic Welfare Training Service. So yeah, a lot of the classes we had were minor subjects that technically weren't art related. Although our instructors did regularly try to connect their classes with art to some degree, as much as they could anyway. Speaking of, our math instructor just didn't bother teaching pretty much anything but the basics, since we probably aren't gonna be using a lot of math in our artworks anyway. Given that, I'm actually quite surprised that we ended up having 3 comic projects during the first semester. Since again, we only had one art-related subject that semester. I will be making videos for those comics as well, by the way, whenever I get around to it. But yeah, so far we've been given crumbs in terms of the art lessons we were expecting to get for this course. Though for the next semester, we do have more than one art subject, which is good, by the way, especially since a lot of us, well, probably all of us, took this course for the animation part, obviously. But for the first semester, we had a bunch more coding on our plates. Which is still exciting, for me anyway, but it's definitely way different from just drawing. The majority of the students in our class could not care less for coding. Apart from the technical subjects and all of that stuff anyway, it actually took me a little while to adjust to being an animation student. Since if you've watched some of my other videos, particularly the ones where I mention high school, you'd know that back in high school, there were not a lot of people who liked drawing that I knew of. In terms of animation style of drawing anyway, the majority of those who did draw, again, that I knew of, leaned more into architecture type of drawings. There were even less people who did digital art. So going from that to having all of your classmates being able to draw, whether it be traditionally or digitally, is a big shift. I was honestly both excited and a bit apprehensive about entering this kind of environment. Mainly because, although I have no problems with my art and my style, there's still that part of knowing that a lot of people I'm in class with are really good at their own art in whatever style they may have. So like the pressure's on. Especially because it's an output-based course for the most part. Although I'm not really looking to compete against anyone anyway, I'm just really lucky so far to not have had any instructors who were very particular with the art style. Because I've read horror stories of art teachers failing students because they don't like the style or something like that. Luckily, that doesn't seem to be the case for me. Also, I came from STEM, and a lot of the classmates I have came from an arts and design course in senior high school. So like, some of them have already learned about 3D and using After Effects for animations, and wow. I'm not at that level yet, but that's why I'm here. There's a lot of us in different stages of our art practice and skills, and there's always someone who's better. Right now, I don't really think about that very much, because on the positive note, I'm surrounded by a lot of really cool artists. I've seen the work of some of my classmates and wow, it's so cool to be around people who like the same thing. You have anime artists, cartoonists, fan artists, traditional artists, digital artists, realism artists even. Just a whole mix and match of different styles, and it's great to see. Also, it's funny how our class pretty much consists of the awkward art kids from high school, because legitimately, for pretty much the entire first week, no one in the class was speaking, and the instructors had to point that out more than once. Different instructors too, no less. I wouldn't consider myself a very introverted person, but you'd think everyone was just getting a feel for the class in the first week? Nope. It's been a whole semester, and while there are some extroverts in our class, it's still giving all the awkward art kids from high school put into one room. So it's really funny to see during reportings. And there's not even a lot of us. We're under 40 students in one class. That's just one block or section, and we'll pretty much be spending the entire 4 years we have of this course together. That's also, wow, very different from my experience in high school. Anyways, yeah, I'll likely be mentioning a lot about my college life and art-related schoolworks from this point on. In fact, probably the majority of my videos will be about comics or animations, because that's what I'm learning. We have a storyboarding subject next semester, which starts January 19 for me, so by the time this is uploaded, I should be back in school. Basically, all I'm saying is, expect more art and videos related to my schoolwork, whenever I upload them anyway. And also relating to animation, I actually have a few ideas for some short animations that I'd like to make, and I currently have one in the works right now. I just haven't really gotten around to finishing it yet. I find it kind of funny since back in high school I always said that I'd probably enjoy animating a lot more if I had a good laptop or PC that doesn't hang or crash a lot. But now that I actually do, since it's a really good gaming laptop, well, it's not to say I don't enjoy it, but it can be very time consuming. And although basically my hardware upgraded, my patience unfortunately did not. So sometimes it's frustrating to spend hours animating only to end up with a short clip afterwards that looks just a little bit smoother than when I started it. But it's always rewarding in the end seeing the whole thing and, just seeing my art come to life. Basically, my patience is really being tested, even in coding. In fact, just last night I spent hours trying to figure out what was wrong with my code for a personal mini platformer game. Since yes, I am making one for practice, and I was so frustrated. All for me to see that one singular line of code that was out of place, and that single line made the entire thing crash. I have so much respect for programmers and game developers. Man, you guys are crazy. Also, another thing I noticed, Remember when I said my course is basically IT major in animation? So you'd expect everyone to have laptops, right? Well, I was actually surprised to see that nearly half of our entire class did not have laptops during the first semester. Which is crazy to me because I always thought that if you're entering this course and you're gonna be learning industry standard animation, that you'd have a powerful device to work with. I always thought of it as a requirement. Also because, well, we're mainly in IT, so you definitely need laptops and computers. That's just what I noticed though, and it takes me back to senior high, where no one in my entire research group owned a laptop. And so we ended up borrowing my mother's old, very tiny 10 or 12-inch netbook from 2013 probably, I don't know, along with a classmate's laptop and my cousin's laptop just to get our research done. And honestly, I'm glad I'm not in that situation anymore. So yeah, the first semester, dare I say even the whole first year, I'm pretty sure, is just an appetizer for what's to come. So I'll be buckling up, I guess. Also, I've been finding ways to draw my penguin in any school activity that technically allows me to. Since, you know, it's college, as long as you basically follow the instructions, you can really do whatever you want. So, yes, ma'am or sir, if it's got a penguin on it, it's my work. Real quick before we finish this video up, but it's a little bit unrelated, I will probably not be uploading to Instagram anymore, as I've mentioned in my art versus artist post, and that's mainly because I'm not having fun on there anymore. Maybe I'll return to it someday, but who knows. For now, I'll probably focus on YouTube more, but don't expect weekly videos or anything like that. I'm still a busy student. If you want to support me anyway, feel free to subscribe if you want, press some buttons under the video, leave a comment, or you can check out my Ko-fi. Any support is appreciated. Also, I have products and stuff like that, just check the links in the description. But anyways, thank you for watching and sticking around. I hope 2026 becomes a good year for all of us. You, me, your neighbor, all parties involved. And my penguin too. With that said, I hope you have a great day and a great year ahead. I'll see you in the next one.